I say we get right into talking about some Star Wars, because the last episode was all about Star Wars, but it was right after we saw it for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure some opinions have changed. I know some of mine have, not in a bad way. So yeah, I've been watching like some different things on YouTube and reading articles and stuff, and one of my biggest problems with what people are saying about this movie is, well, first, let's not get to that yet. First of all, the whole thing about it being like a remake of Episode 4. Dude, like, I noticed that when we were watching it, that there was a lot of the same points, a lot of the same plot points, a lot of the same beats. You know, it kind of follows a similar formula to Episode 4. But it didn't bother me because, like, when you think about it in a historical sense, when you apply it to real life, history repeats itself. Life is cyclical, like, especially within generations. So, you know, like 30 years later, it would stand to reason that a similar situation would come up. And yeah, you could say, well, that it's a movie, so they should have been a little bit more original with it, but it doesn't hurt the movie. You know, it's still a fucking awesome fucking flick.
Look, man. It's not a reboot of Episode 4.
Well, no, I don't think anybody's saying that. They're saying that it covers. Well, I mean, I guess, but mostly what I've heard is people saying that it covers like some of the same ground. Like, you've got a droid that the bad people are after. You know, you've got
droids are good for secret little sneaky missions.
Yeah, you got that, and you got Kylo Ren, who kind of mirrors Darth Vader.
Yeah, because he's obsessed with him.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
And there's like 4 or 5 other points that, you know, make sense, but I don't think it's a reason to subtract anything from the movie. You know, I think there's such small things, like, and if you're not, like, you have to really be nitpicking to care about it. Is what I'm trying to say. You know.
Like, it was a great movie.
It was a great movie. Like that, like the greatness of it overshadows the fact that, yeah, they might have taken some cues from the originals. I mean, there's a little bit of everything from all three of the trilogy, like all 3 of the movies from the trilogy. Like there's elements from Empire, there's elements from Jedi. You know, it's all in there.
And this next one's going to be completely different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this one was all about establishing the new characters.
Yeah.
You know, that's another, like, I've heard people complain that Luke wasn't in it enough. Well, it's like, look, we already had Han and Leia and Chewie and all these old characters sharing the plot with these new characters that are trying to be developed.
That was Han Solo's movie.
Yeah, it was totally Han Solo's movie. And so adding another old character, number one, would just be too much.
And it would take away, like...
It would take away from the shit that's actually going on. It would take away from character development.
Where would they have wanted Luke in that story?
Yeah, there's really no place for him.
Like, they set it up at the beginning. Like, no one knows where Luke is.
I feel like, and this is something that the Star Wars movies haven't done that much, and I'm hearing that they're probably going to do it in the next one, but I feel like maybe a flashback, because we got a little bit of that when she touched the lightsaber, you know, but maybe a flashback kind of giving a little bit more info on what happened, you know, whenever, like, after Jedi, like, showing him go into the temple and, like, training the new Jedis or whatever.
We might get it on this next one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, some news came out yesterday that Harrison Ford has actually been cast in Episode 8.
Well, didn't I bring up that thing with you?
Yeah. So it's like, and one of the other characters that died in Episode 7 were also cast. The old guy at the beginning, whatever his name was.
Oh, it was Liquor Santor.
So it's most likely going to be a flashback scene. Yeah. So that's like, I was thinking, like, dude, I was thinking about all the past Star Wars movies, and they've never done flashbacks in Star Wars movies. Not that I remember.
Yeah.
It's like something they just don't do, which I'm fine with it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but, you know, so that, yeah, he's coming back, but, you know, I saw somebody be like, maybe he'll be a Force ghost. I'm like, really? Han Solo Force ghost? I mean, he might. Well, maybe he has the Force and just doesn't know it.
I wouldn't think that Han Solo would be a blue glowy, a Force ghost.
I don't either.
What I would think, what would make
it's probably going to be a scene of them sending Kylo to Luke, and to be trained, or like a scene of them finding out that Kylo's turned bad or something, and it'll be something like that.
I think.
Or finding out why Rey was left on that planet, maybe.
I honestly think that you're going to see Harrison Ford probably in the next 2 movies. Just because...
You think he's going to come back from the dead?
No. No, I think that he's going to... Because Kylo Ren's story mirrors Luke Skywalker's story.
Yeah, just on the opposite side.
Yeah, Luke had to battle the dark. Kylo has to battle the light inside of himself.
Yeah.
And I think that Harrison Ford is going to, he's not going to be like Obi-Wan because he's not going to be there in the Force sense.
Yeah.
But Kylo's really shattered mentally.
He's going to have, like Han's going to become its conscience. He's going to keep hearing him in his head and, seeing him everywhere, kind of like a Tyler Durden type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
think
cool.
that would be pretty awesome. And, I mean, that's something that I think that Rian Johnson would do.
Yeah, I could see that, man. Fucking, have you ever seen Looper?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
that movie's
man.
fucking awesome, dude.
Right?
Looper's so good.
And this movie already had a really dark tone anyway.
Yeah.
Like the First Order is way worse than the Empire.
Oh yeah, so far. Okay, and the next thing, the one thing that really bothered me a whole bunch was people talking about the battle between Finn and Rey and against Kylo Ren at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over this because again, I've seen it 3 times, and these are some scenes that I really paid attention to because the first time I saw it, I thought it was awesome. But then people were like, "Oh, well, Finn is just a stormtrooper. How is he so good at fighting with a lightsaber?" And Rey, she just figured out she has the Force, how she's so strong and knows how to use it and shit. So I went back and I watched it and I paid extra close attention. Now, people may disagree with me on this, and that's fine.
I might disagree with you. I have no idea where you're going.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If you pay attention in that scene, number one, Finn doesn't do that well with the lightsaber. He's defending himself.
Right. No, and not well. He lasts maybe a minute.
Yeah, he doesn't last
him?
very long. He gets in one lucky shot because Kylo Ren's hurt from being shot by Chewie.
Which has been shown multiple times in previous scenes to be a very powerful weapon.
Yeah,
Han Solo
exactly.
talks about how much he likes it because of
exactly.
how strong it is.
Yeah, you never noticed how awesome it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hurt, and he gets in one lucky shot. He uses all defensive moves. Like, Kylo Ren has him on the ropes the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, well, how does he even know how to use a lightsaber? I mean, look, he's a stormtrooper. He's been a stormtrooper his whole life. He was trained from birth.
Yeah.
It's the First Order. It's not the Empire anymore. They're not fucking doofy fucking guys that can't make a shot.
They're not people who
they're
signed
actually
up.
well trained now. In the Empire, they sucked. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They couldn't fight and all this shit. They were just like,
Yeah, these guys are dangerous.
yeah, these First Order stormtroopers are the real deal. So he was probably trained in sword fighting or something.
Didn't you get the answer though? Shouldn't people have gotten the answer when he has to fight the other stormtrooper with the riot gear?
Exactly.
I mean, they're trained in melee weapon combat.
Exactly. So he knows enough to be able to use it. But again, he doesn't fare that well. And he ends up getting his back all sliced up. And then fucking... Okay, let's talk about Rey. She mentions earlier in the movie that she's heard the stories of Luke and all this shit. And it's possible that she was one of the people he was training. Whether or not she's his daughter, I'm starting to not believe that. I think it probably will be because Star Wars is all about the Skywalkers.
That's why it's about Kylo.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But I'm starting to think Rey will just be like Anakin was, just a random kid that just happens to be very strong in the Force, or maybe a part of some lineage. Maybe part of Obi-Wan's lineage or something, or Qui-Gon's
great niece or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't think she's going to be Luke's daughter. I think that Han and Leia would have known about Luke's daughter and would have said something about it at some point.
Yeah.
Or unless he wiped everybody's memory of her,
Well, here's an interesting
just to protect her, maybe. But
here's an interesting theory. Because Kylo struggles with the light, there's a chance that he didn't that Rey. There's a chance that Rey is his sister.
Yeah.
And that he didn't.
I feel
kill
like
her.
they would have mentioned it though.
Well, but that's the thing.
I feel like in the movie they'd have been like, we had this daughter too. What's she doing?
Do you remember? You remember the scene in Maz's castle when Rey and Finn have both walked off, And Maz looks at Han Solo and says, "So who's the girl?"
Yeah.
And he just cuts away. He doesn't answer. She knows everything about the Falcon.
Yeah.
Without even like, she's really good at like ships. That's like the theory is that when Kylo betrayed Luke and like helped kill all the people that were training there, he didn't kill Rey.
Yeah.
And he lied about killing Rey to Snoke. And he
Oh, is this your speculation?
yeah.
Okay.
And so he actually dropped her off there. So like, she's so young that she doesn't really remember like going back.
I think
to
her
those
memory
days.
was wiped. I think
that's definitely possible. Kylo
Yeah.
might have done it.
Yeah.
So like,
He can walk around in people's memories.
yeah.
But again, why wouldn't he acknowledge that when he was messing with her mind? Why wouldn't he understand why she was so strong in the Force? Like, he obviously, like, he wasn't just playing dumb. He obviously doesn't understand
he
why she's.
underestimated her because she hadn't been taught. I think that's.
I just
what
don't
it
feel
is.
like he put. I don't feel like he put enough recognition into it for him to really know who she is.
No,
like he might
but
know of her.
Here's this scene. Though.
He might know of her.
Well, but there's this scene,
Yeah.
right? When he gets all pissed off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he knows of her. Like, because he might remember that there was a girl that he didn't get to. Whenever he was when they destroyed the temple.
Yeah, but
and he was like, "That's that girl that we didn't fucking kill."
But why would he? Like, yeah, but like,
Maybe Luke got her away before he had the chance.
that's possible too.
You know.
But this theory works. This theory works because like, it would be like the opposite. Like Kylo has to use the dark side and Rey has to use the light, and they have to fight together at the end to kill Snoke. At the very
I could see
end,
that.
like,
I've actually, that was going to be one of my. I was going to get into predictions and shit.
Yeah.
And that was going to be one of our predictions is that Kylo Ren
That's why
turns back over to the light side, but instead of like Darth Vader being killed at the same time, he's going to actually survive, and it's going to end with him being a good guy.
Well, what I'm thinking is that in this next movie, Rey's getting trained by Luke, and he's getting trained by Snoke.
Yeah.
And I think Luke and Snoke are going to fight, and I think Luke's going to get killed.
That's definitely going to happen.
And I think
And that's what's going to turn Kylo Ren good.
No, I still think he's going to be evil for the simple
Well,
fact
he'll
that-
be evil for a while, but it'll be something that he struggles with. He'll be like, "Damn, you killed."
But
you know,
what
my uncle.
what my theory is that like they have to bring balance to the Force because Anakin failed, and so like that could kind of like if that's his like thing, and the reason that he asks his dad, he goes, "Will you help me?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"With anything," and he's like, so he kills him so that way he could snuff out more of the light inside of him because he has to go fully dark. And it has to be like the full power of the dark side and the full power of the light side to kill Snoke. That's my crazy theory.
That's mine. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, as far as Rey and her Force powers and shit. Okay, like I was saying, she obviously knows about Luke Skywalker. She knows all the myths and the legends from back in those times. Because whenever, it's brought up, she was like, "It's all true, really? Like, you knew Luke Skywalker? I thought he was just a myth." And so I feel like she's probably read some stuff or seen some hologram stuff or whatever they have in whatever the Star Wars equivalent is to history books. She's probably, read up on the Force and read up how Luke used it to take down the Empire and all this shit. So she probably has... other than the training that she most likely had as a kid before she was dropped off on Jakku, she probably has seen and heard about how the Force is used, is what I'm trying to say. So when she realized that she has it, she's like, "Oh shit, I remember there was this Jedi mind trick thing I can do." And then she fucking seduces Daniel Craig into letting her out of the fucking straps.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like,
by the way, that was Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's like the whole thing. Like the Force awakens in her.
Yeah.
Throughout like when she touches that lightsaber, it really kicks off.
So obviously she's just naturally strong in the Force for whatever reason. So whenever it comes to that final battle, again, she doesn't really do that well against him. She does better than you would expect her to.
And I think it's because he completely underestimated.
He underestimated. He didn't.
He was cocky.
Exactly. He underestimated, and he was hurt. You know. So again, people complaining about that stuff, it just doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, if you really look at the movie and pay attention to the things that lead up to that point, like, it makes sense that she would have some little bit of an understanding on how to use her powers.
And she's tapped into the Force, so it's guiding her
exactly
too, at the same time.
Because you see that point where their sabers are locked together, and it's that close-up shot of her face, and you see it in her eyes.
Yeah,
and she gets all like zen, and fucking just starts kicking ass. But even then, like, she's kicking ass, but not as good as she could be doing.
One of the best parts.
I fucking hate my neighbors.
One of the best parts, though, about that fight, man. Did you notice this? How he'd hit his wound? Yeah. I love that, because he's like trying to bring pain, which will make him angry and fuel more of the dark side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an attempt. Like, I don't know if you ever, like when you get a tattoo, you beat the shit out of it, when it's itching or something, like you do that when you have a wound. Like, I don't know if it necessarily dulls the pain, but it kind of.
I think he's trying to fuel it.
I think he is too, but I think it's also kind of a, God damn it, this thing needs to stop hurting type of thing. But yeah, it's definitely getting pumped up and shit. And it's great. Let's see, what else was there?
Didn't you bring up like, if I was worried about a costume change? Because, like, his helmet and shit, someone brought that up to me.
I don't think I did.
Someone did, and I was like, no, not really, because I think, Phasma's been confirmed to return. Yeah. But that's another thing, too, people have been bitching about is Phasma. She's going to be more fleshed out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree that I thought they should have used her a little bit more, but, I mean, again, like, in Luke's case, where? How? Yeah. There's already so much going on. Like
this movie was about establishing the new good characters, and I think the next movie will establish more of the bad guys.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one theory I actually like that I've heard. I forget who I heard say it. Might have been Collider, Movie Talk, their Star Wars show. Might have been on there. I don't remember. But basically that maybe Captain Phasma is a double agent. Maybe she's actually with the Resistance and nobody really knows except for maybe one or two people. But because, I mean, she did kind of drop the shields a little too easily. Like, does she really care if, fucking old dude's going to kill her or not, Finn? When he's like, hey, you need to had the gun to her head, It's like, I mean, she's supposed to be this ruthless fucking highest level stormtrooper, and she's just going to bend that easily.
I don't know, man.
So.
Like maybe it was just kind of like, she's like, well, I'm going to make it out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
because
I just feel like if you know how Kylo Ren is and how Snoke is, like, are you really going to risk, like, because your fate could be way worse, if you're the one that dropped the shields on the fucking Starkiller base?
She probably doesn't even like think about that. She probably just reports the Hux.
Yeah, probably.
But I think Hux and Ren are both going to be back. Because, like, some people are saying, well, Kylo Ren's dead.
What?
Yeah, some people think that they all died. Because they're like, how'd they get off the planet?
That's stupid. Like, obviously they got off the planet. If Chewie and all them can get off, they can get off too. Because he wasn't wasn't unconscious.
Exactly.
When the land split.
And fucking Hux was looking for him. So
yeah, exactly.
Go get Ren and bring him to me.
So that's stupid.
So he, he knew that he was out there in that one area. So he probably went out there to look, grabbed the helmet, and then went back out.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something else. Anything else you want to say about it?
It was great.
It was fucking awesome, dude.
Like, I love Kylo Ren.
And it gets better every time you see it. Just honestly, like, even at like the third, I was still on the edge of my seat in the third viewing, and my nephews loved it. They were all on board with it.
I think we need to show 2 videos though.
What's that?
I think we need to show the George Lucas Thug Life.
We will here in a second. Since we're still talking about Force Awakens, I haven't read this. I just found this article just now, so I'm gonna see. It's hopefully it doesn't suck. Hopefully there's something we can talk about in it. 11 things wrong with Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Let's see if we agree. All right. Fuck all that talking shit. Number 1, the New Republic's destruction is glossed over in seconds.
They they destroyed planets in the Republic. They didn't destroy the Senate.
Yeah, exactly. The government is still very much alive.
Yeah. So sorry,
that doesn't make any sense.
You're wrong. Read what he says.
In the months leading up to Star Wars The Force Awakens, we learned a lot about the First Order, but hardly anything was said about the new government that was spawned after the Empire was defeated, known as the New Republic. As it turns out, Star Wars The Force Awakens didn't shed too much more light on this government since it was destroyed in one fell swoop by the massive Starkiller base. In a tiny scene that was glossed over quite quickly by director J.J. Abrams, one would think that the destruction of the entire governing body of the galaxy would warrant a lot more than just a trivial scene, but that's all we got.
I stand by what we
again, that the whole government didn't fall.
Yeah, because they were coming in again, or they're sucking in the sun to take a second shot. They hit planets in the system, but the Senate was still standing.
Exactly, they didn't get to the main one.
Their bases of operations for the military were still standing. They're okay.
And see, this is another one of those things. I guarantee this person, who is this? Who did this article? This is
Brian Gallagher.
Brian Gallagher from Movieweb.com. Nothing against you, Brian Gallagher. You're probably, you write well, so.
We're allowed to disagree.
I feel like this guy only saw it once. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be somebody that goes and sees it 15 million times like I will be. But at the same time, there's a lot of things in this movie that you just don't catch if you only see it once.
Yeah.
And I get it. Not everybody's going to be into seeing it multiple times. But, that's one of those things that if you go watch it again, I guarantee you'll have a different opinion on that. All right, next page. I hate it when they do this. Just put it all on one page, damn it. If you didn't have so many fucking ads, it wouldn't take so long to fucking load. Luke Skywalker's short screen time.
How are they able to use that image? Because that's from a pirated copy.
Yep. Oh, dude, sites do that shit all the time, man.
And they get away with it?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I don't know. I guess they do, but obviously is so far. In terms of cliffhangers, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, did it best. Han Solo was frozen in carbonite, the heroes were separated, and we knew there was another possible Jedi who was strong with the Force. Wondering who that might be, left us guessing for 3 years until Episode 6 came out, and Star Wars Force Awakens is great in that it has us asking even more questions about the universe than ever before, and it gives us one heck of a cliffhanger. What is Luke's deal, and who is Rey? Problem comes from the build-up and release. We only get to see Luke for 1 minute of screen time, and he never speaks a word. This feels like more of a cheat than a cliffhanger, and it has left some fans incredibly disappointed. While some are championing the film's final shot, the fact that Luke is only seen for a few fleeting minutes has left more than a few fans feeling ripped off. I didn't really have a problem with it. I will say this, though. I feel like it wasn't needed. I feel like they could have ended the movie right as she fucking takes off into space. And that would have been a great ending. Like, hey, Rey's going to look for Luke. That's great.
Yeah.
We'll see him in the next movie. So, I don't feel like it was needed. But at the same time, it's like, again, like we said earlier, what the fuck's he going to do in the movie? Like, there's already so much going on. And having another classic character in there would just, take away from the story that's happening with the new characters.
He does look badass, though.
Yeah, kudos to him for getting in shape and growing a gnarly beard, and his hair looks cool.
Yeah.
He actually looks a lot more like Anakin could be his kid. Or his dad. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, next page. Movieweb.com, man. You letting me down. Come on. It only fucking... There we go. Han and Luke will never have a new scene together. That is something that kind of bothers me. But again, there's flashbacks. Like, Han Solo is going to be in Episode 8 and probably in Episode 9. Most likely in flashbacks. So we are going to get to see some stuff between him and Luke. I'm almost positive of it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I feel like they have to I feel like they have to delve into that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you have to see Luke training the young Jedis, and you have to see him interacting with Kylo Ren while Kylo Ren's turning to the dark side,
that's what you remember I told you that what I wanted to see, Kylo's seduction by Snoke while he's training.
I
want to see that.
So I'm almost positive we'll see some Han and Luke stuff in the future.
I mean, I'd be okay with that coming out in the comic book, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna read all that. The link will be in the description if you people want to go read it. Too much setup for episode 8, really? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? I mean,
we're not supposed to know it's getting a sequel.
Isn't that how a trilogy's supposed to go? You know, each movie sets up the next one, kind of.
This is supposed to be just like Star Wars.
Episode 8 is going to have a lot of explaining to do, and we're sure some of that will spill over into episode 9. While we know Rey is Force sensitive, we don't know who she really is, or if she is related to the Solos or Skywalker clans. We don't know anything about Snoke's background. We're not sure how. Oh, and that was another thing too. People being like, "How is Rey so much stronger in the Force than Kylo Ren is?" And
he underestimated her.
Well, that, and let's think about it this way. If you look at it from a lineage biological standpoint, Kylo Ren's parents are Han Solo, who is not Force sensitive. As far as we know, has no Jedi abilities, and Leia, who is Force sensitive but not as strong as Luke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he's only really got half Force coming into him from his parents. You know, it's kind of like he's like a 16th Cherokee Indian.
But that could be like Saiyans, man. You know, like when a Saiyan breeds with a human, that kid's stronger because it's.
So I mean, that this is just one piece of speculation. I mean, it could be that it doesn't matter, but I'm saying maybe Rey's parents were both fucking Jedis, you know, or something like that. But anyways, we don't know anything about Snoke's background. We're not sure how Lor San Tekka got the missing piece of the Jedi map. Though he appears to be from Alderaan, since her refers to General Leia as royalty. That doesn't mean he's from Alderaan. I mean, he might be.
He just knows who
he probably fought with the rebellion, you know?
I mean, it's implied that he's an old friend of the rebellion.
Yeah. We don't know anything about Finn's heritage. We kind of do. He was taken at birth to be a fucking stormtrooper. You know, that's how the First Order works. They fucking steal kids away at birth and raise them to be fucking fighters. And that's pretty much his story. I don't think we're going to find out much more than that. And just how did Maz Kanata get that lightsaber?
She's a pirate.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought maybe she's probably just like a collector, like the collector from Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. And she seems to be maybe not one that can use the Force, but definitely can tune into it. Like she has some kind of abilities, like she can read people and shit like that.
Yeah.
And she seems like somebody that Han and probably the rebellion in general trusted to hold on to shit like that. And Luke was probably like, you know, if he had it at the time, you know, because that was the one he lost when his hand got cut off. So I don't know if he had it at the time to give it to her, but she got it somehow. And she knows about the history of it, so it stands to reason that somebody gave it to her, that she didn't just find it, you know. But I don't think it's that important. You know, I mean, it is to the story, but as far as you know,
like, this is the thing. Like, I think a lot of these like smaller questions, like especially about some of the stuff that happened in the past to like new characters, like how Maz got the lightsaber and all this shit. I'm pretty sure a lot of these questions are going to be answered in like books and comic books that are going to come out over the next like year and a half.
I would hope that stuff that's brought up in the movies though would be covered in the movies. You know, I mean the comics are definitely canon, but
that's
not everybody reads the comics.
Like the new little novella, The Perfect Weapon, which is about that chick from the castle that rats out, you know, that the resistance is there to the First Order. She was hired to do a special mission by someone that she never saw, who sent like a self-destructing droid to hire her to go to Endor to pick up this package from an old dilapidated, rundown mental house for burnt out stormtroopers. So they assumed that that's how Kylo got Vader's helmet, Like, it's never said that that's who it is or
No.
what she got. You know, it's kind of Pulp Fiction-y with you don't know what's in the box.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so like I think that they're addressing a lot of these little things in other medium because that was a big part of this, the journey to The Force Awakens, and I don't think that's going to end because you still have the C-3PO comic that's going to come out, all kinds of stuff that's going to come out that's still part of the journey to The Force Awakens.
Man, I'm still loving the Star Wars comics, and I actually got to thinking about whenever we did our Star Wars spoiler cast months before it came out.
Yeah.
We talked about the Han Solo having a wife and shit in that one comic, and it's funny that we talked about him having a kid somewhere.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren's ends up being his kid. That's pretty funny.
But it was with Leia though.
Yeah, and the chick in the spoiler, the chick in the comic ended up not being his wife.
Yeah.
So anyways, number 5. Han Solo lost the Millennium Falcon. Really?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
And he had people to pay off and shit, you know. I mean, he probably fucking sold it to somebody or something, you know, or whatever. Somebody probably took it as a like a foreclosure, like a forfeiture type of thing, you know.
Yeah,
like he probably had a loan on it or something, you know, and somebody fucking took it, or a lien or whatever you call it. When we first meet back up with Han Solo and Chewbacca, they are no longer in possession of their prized home, the Millennium Falcon. And it's been quite a few years since they've seen the old Corellian YT-1300 light freighter. Okay, we'll chalk this up to old age. They're slipping. But the ship could be... Oh, that's another thing, too. After seeing it on a better screen, because let me tell you, like, there had to be something wrong with either Regal's projector or the screen. Because
I've seen it at Regal and at Cinemark up here. So
I saw it at Cinemark here twice, and both times, like, it was bright, and I could see shit. And Chewie definitely has gray hair, you know, so
well,
as I was talking about on the last podcast, how it did look like he had aged, you know.
Well, I mean, he's still not old.
No, he's still not for a Wookiee, but he definitely has some gray hair, you know. Let's see. And they just happened to look out the window and find it. No, he had a tracker on it. He'd been scanning for. He says something about our scanners picking it up. He said if our scanners can get it, the First Order can too, or something like that.
Yeah, so it was probably pinging.
Yeah, he was
distance.
Yeah, he was searching for it for years, and it just happened to come across it.
It hadn't been ran in years because Ray says it's a piece of trash.
Exactly, they'd been sitting at that fucking pawn shop or whatever the fuck it was.
Probably the whole time she had been on the planet.
Exactly. Well, she was obviously familiar with it. Because when they were, you know, that one's a piece of garbage, you know, like, exactly, and then they show it. It's like, so obviously, and she knew where the gun position was and all that shit. So she's had to have been inside of it. You know, she probably messed around with it a time or two, you know. Oh, and I've seen somebody actually say, well, how did Ray fly the Millennium Falcon so well? She's not a pilot. Fuck, yeah, she is. Yeah. She says she's a pilot. Like, when they're running to it, she's like, yeah, I am a pilot. You got one. God, like, people just don't pay attention anymore. It's like, and people base their opinion of this movie on these bad fucking observations. like, do you realize? Just go watch it again. Like, as you're complaining about shit that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, look, it's not a perfect movie. No movie's perfect. You know, there's some things that could have been done better. But I mean, the thing people are complaining about, just like I said, just don't make sense. This happens just moments after Rey takes control of the ship for the first time, which has been sitting unused on the planet Jakku for a very long time. It doesn't seem like Han and Chewbacca are that far removed from Jakku when they come back into contact with their ship. If they were using a tracking device to locate it, wouldn't that have led them to Unkar Plutt? The fact that Han and Chewie found the ship as soon as Rey and Finn set off from Jakku seems more than just a little contrived. Let's just say it's one of the movie's many conveniences.
Yeah.
I just don't agree. I mean, if it was sitting dormant, not turned on for 30 years or whatever, you know, like, maybe the tracker couldn't see it when it's not turned on.
I mean,
you know,
this is just nitpicking.
It is. It's nitpicking.
Which is what you have to do when a movie's good.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. Oh, man, the reviews on Google Play are fucking ridiculous.
Like, good or bad?
The bad ones are just stupid. I might read some here in a minute. How could the unexperienced Rey and Finn survive against Kylo Ren? We've already talked about that, but let's see. The big climactic, he really said climactic. It's climactic lightsaber fight at the end of the movie has many people wondering just how bad a Jedi in training Kylo was before he gave himself over to the Knights of Ren. He's still in training. Like, his training didn't stop just because he wasn't training with Luke anymore. He switched and fucking started training the dark side with Snoke. He has set up, and he says in the movie that his training isn't complete. He is set up as a powerful Force user, but perhaps he's not as powerful as he lets on. He faces off against the next janitor who has never used a lightsaber before. Again, he probably had some kind of sword training. He might even have lightsaber training. I mean, Jedis aren't the only ones that can use lightsabers. Yeah. You know, I mean, and especially in a world where...
I mean, that's been set up. Mandalorians use them in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean, well, in a world where the Empire's been taken down by Jedi, you know, you would think that when the First Order comes around, that they would train people how to use lightsabers because they're probably going to encounter them sometime. You know what I'm saying?
They have the thing to battle it, man. You know?
So it's like, hey, we were taken down by people that used lightsabers before. We should train our new soldiers how to use lightsabers. I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And this toilet scrubber certainly holds his own for a while. I mean, for like a minute. And he really just does all defensive moves. As a stormtrooper, it's expected that Finn has had some weapons training, but that is never explained in the movie, and he's never used the Force. How's it not explained in the movie? He says he was taken at birth and trained to be a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
To work for the First Order.
I haven't agreed with anything this guy said.
I haven't either.
And we've addressed like over half of them already.
Yeah. He's never used the Force. Ren, on the other hand, is well versed in the ways of the Force and was able to wipe out all of Luke's Jedis in training. Why didn't Kylo Ren just use his Force powers on Finn and end the fight before it began? As it is, Kylo barely wins the fight. He doesn't appear to be very skilled in a lightsaber, but he does. Oh man, like this is just people not being as observant
people
as they should be.
Dicks. People being dicks.
This brings us to Rey. Did she have prior Jedi training? It appears so, as she is nearly as effective using the Force after just a few hours as Luke Skywalker is after several years. She's not, though. She's maybe just as good as Luke was in Episode 4. You know, maybe, and he had a little bit of training.
I've heard some people want to say that she's as good as he is in Episode 5, but honestly, what I think
I think it's a lot of luck.
That's the
and
whole
the
thing.
Force
Like,
guiding her.
Yeah, it's called The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure that what she did was she realized that she has the Force. She explores it when she goes to Daniel Craig's Stormtrooper.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Even after that, whenever Finn and Han and Chewie find her, they're like, how did you get away? And she's like, I have no idea. I can't even explain it.
I mean,
you know, she just does it because she's heard about it, you know, and she has a feeling.
Yeah, she's letting the Force guide her. The Force awoke in Rey.
So, yeah, let's move on. Number 7, Rey can understand Wookiee speak. What the fuck? Who cares? Rey is a woman of many talents. She seems to know how to be a Jedi with no signs of prior training. She is fluent in the astromech droid language.
That's just binary.
Yeah.
Like, Luke understood it before, and you guys didn't give a fuck about him understanding
exactly. She knows, and he was pretty much the same as her, except for he was a farmer on Tatooine, and she's a scavenger on Jakku, but they kind of are similar.
Yeah.
She knows the ins and outs of the Millennium Falcon, again, because she's been working in this junkyard, and probably has messed around with it before. But what surprised fans most of all is that she can understand everything coming out of Chewbacca's mouth. While few folks in the Star Wars universe can understand Shira, I can't pronounce it. How do you pronounce that? Shirawook? The native language of the Wookiee. Shiriwook. The native language of the Wookiee, Rey can. And this comes from a girl who has never left Jakku since she was a young girl. Jakku's a scavenger planet. I'm sure at least 1 or 2 Wookiees have come through over time. And probably live there.
Again, this would go back to my theory about the fact that she grew up. She spent some formative years with her dad.
Well, she was like 5 when she was left on Jakku.
Yeah, 5, 6. But like what I'm saying is, you know, like she got like the first 2 or 3 years probably the first two before she went off to go train.
There's definitely some memories that have either been repressed or blanked out.
And if she listened to a Wookiee speak since she was a child, and Han understood it, you know, and if she is Han's daughter, then yeah, she would understand that, just like it would come back to her naturally. Because I'm telling you, I got a little 2-year-old daughter, and she's smart as shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, kids are a lot smarter than people realize. Let's see. It is never explained in the movie. She just seems to be a jack of all trades, which has led some to online pundits calling her a Mary Sue, which is defined as an idealized fictional character, a young or low-ranked person who saves the day through extraordinary abilities. Perhaps her knowledge of all languages will be explained in future sequels.
Wait, if they're going to call her a Mary Sue, shouldn't they call Katniss Everdeen a Mary Sue?
Yes, they should.
Or Mary
and some people
Poppins.
probably do. Number 8. Why is this Star Killer base so easy to destroy?
It wasn't.
I mean, it wasn't. They didn't put a lot of emphasis. Like, most of the emphasis at that point in the time was on Kylo Ren and Han Solo and Rey and Finn, like that whole conflict. So the destruction of the Star Killer base did kind of take a back seat to that. It wasn't like super focused on, but it definitely wasn't easy. You know, I'd say maybe a little too easy to get the shields down, like I was talking about. But even that, like, I don't see that as a gripe. It's just, you know, they're still kind of a young organization, you know, so their mistakes are going to be made.
Well, like, the thing is that Finn fills them in on the plans.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he would know the ins and outs of that place.
Yeah.
Either just from his training when he was going through everything, or because he's a janitor and he has to clean everywhere.
Yeah.
But they still barely pull off taking it out. If it wasn't for Poe Dameron, that would have destroyed the rest of the Republic.
Exactly.
So, you know, the only reason they were able to get in is because the explosions went off.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do shit to it. They were getting outgunned.
Mm-hmm.
They were losing pilots. I mean,
well, even when the shields were down, they were shooting and it wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, it was barely making a dent.
Yeah, Elo Asti died.
Yeah.
You know, that was that alien that was named after a Beastie Boys album.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I know. So we're just gonna breeze on past that because whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next one. Come on, you fucker. Number 9. Are all of the stormtroopers human now? What?
They've always all been human.
They've always been human.
What?
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 In the George Lucas original Star Wars trilogy, the original stormtroopers aren't good for much. They have horrific aim with their blasters and can easily be impersonated, as evidenced by Luke Skywalker and Han Solo in Star Wars Episode 4. We learned in the 2002 prequel that the early versions of these white-clad soldiers were all clones of Jango Fett, the father of notorious bounty hunter Boba Fett. They're still humans, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not humans.
Humanoid, yeah.
Well,
they're Mandalorian.
They're still biological entities.
Exactly,
like, they're born, you know? They're not just, like, they're not cyborgs or androids or anything. They're fucking blood and bone flesh born humans. They're just direct clones of Jango Fett.
Yeah.
The stormtroopers seen in the original trilogy were the ultimate evolution of the clone troopers. As the clones' accelerated aging process began causing their physical skills and abilities to deteriorate, they were replaced by non-clone volunteers and conscripts. Nonetheless, several clone troopers would remain in service to Galactic Empire, but as we see in the movie 30 years later, the First Order is going in a different direction, using regular humans as stormtroopers, a strategy which seems to backfire after Finn escaped with Poe Dameron. Now, I mean, yeah, I'll agree that the fact that he's human, it probably is why he was able to have a conscience about it. Because the clones were bred and made to follow orders, you know, like, they're programmed to follow orders. I mean, they're still humans, but they're...
Well, they actually have chips in their head, as established in
So I guess you could call them
Wars.
cyborgs, but they're still fucking humans.
Yeah, they're humans, but it's just something that, like, if... Like, it's so, like, when they hear shit like Order 66,
yeah, they know what they're doing.
They have to listen to it.
Yeah. So that's bullshit.
I mean, the fact they're going to use regular humans. They're conquering places in the Outer Rim and taking humans, but the Empire has always been racist. or alienist, or however you want to say it. They're always pro-human. Aliens live like scum.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, number 10. Is the entire First Order destroyed except Hux, Kylo Ren, Captain Phasma, and Snoke? I mean, a lot of them were destroyed, I'm sure. But, I mean, look, the Empire bounced back pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, and pretty much all their forces were on the Death Star. You know. Much like how Star Wars Force Awakens glossed over the destruction of the New Republic, the First Order's demise is also presented with plenty of ambiguity before the Starkiller base was completely destroyed. Supreme Leader Snoke ordered General Hux to retrieve the injured Kylo Ren and to retreat from the base, adding ominously that Ren's training is still not complete. Snoke was never there in the first place, beaming his communiques. Oh, goodness, hold on. I got burp coming through. Sorry, folks. Through a hologram from an undisclosed location. So, does Snoke, Ren, and Hux now represent the entirety of the First Order after the base destruction? I don't think so. I think they got some reserve somewhere, surely. I mean, again, the Empire bounced back fairly easily in Episode 5. So, and what about Captain Phasma? Her ending is left quite ambiguous. There is never any indication that there are First Order bases in other parts of the galaxy. I mean, there's no indication doesn't mean there aren't. Again, this is another one that I'm just going to say is, who cares? I mean, you know, even if they don't explain, you know, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters that much. 11, the lightsaber battle's anticlimactic ending. You got it right that time. Climactic. It wouldn't be a Star Wars movie without an epic lightsaber battle, and while fans had to wait until the end of Star Wars Force Awakens, their patience was rewarded with what essentially turned out to be a two-part battle, with Kylo Ren first battling Finn and then taking on Rey. While this battle does give us one of the movie's most memorable moments, when Rey overpowered Ren with the Force and snatched the lightsaber from the snow, the battle's ending is a point of contention for many fans, since it ends when an all-too-easy chasm forms in the base before it explodes, separating Rey and Ren. Well, isn't that convenient? That's the Force. You know? Like, they weren't ready to face each other. The Force fucking separated them. That's how I saw that.
I mean, and also that whole planet's falling apart.
Well, yeah, and the planet's falling apart, but I mean, it was convenient that it just happened right in between them and separated them like that. But again, I think that was the Force.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of my opinion on that. And it's something they may never explain. You know, I don't think they will, but I think that's kind of what was implied anyways.
Oh, it's just so convenient that the Titanic hit an iceberg.
So, I mean, was it an anticlimactic ending to that lightsaber battle? I mean, I don't think so. I think,
No.
again, like, that wasn't, you know, that was a conflict that was going on while the fucking base was being destroyed and shit. I think it, you know, I think it was awesome, but I don't think it was that important, you know, as far as,
I think
whatever.
This asshole's making mountains out of molehills that he doesn't really understand.
Yeah, so Brian Gallagher, all due respect, man, but I don't agree with any of these.
You can have your opinions, man, you know, but
there are some things that, again, if you listen to the last podcast that I didn't, not necessarily didn't like, but I thought could have been better, you know. So I'm not saying that there aren't things wrong with it. I'm just saying that these things, just go watch it again and you'll see that your opinions will probably change, you know. Okay.
Then he's gonna comment. He's gonna get on there. I've seen it 12 times, and every time it sticks out more.
Yeah,
it's like the comic book guy. That's what we should call these people. The comic book guy from The Simpsons, because like
worst sequel ever.
For some people, things are never gonna be good enough, and it's because nostalgia or rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.